Hey everybody, Chris and Vitaly here with Raise Ready, and we're excited to be joining you with our special guests here, Rich and Evan. And today we're going to be talking about IR and how this fits into the ecosystem of a syndicator, why it's so important, and what you should do about it. So one of the things I want to kick off with here is we had a revelation pretty early on into our adventures here at Raise Ready, and that's this. Hey, Rich.
Hey, boys. How are you?
Hey,
Fantastic.
doing well. Thanks for joining us.
Am I the only one on the call?
So far.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, there you go.
You can see my pretty face.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah. So sorry, I've been a little out of pocket. My
That's
son had his first baby, so I'm now officially a grandfather.
That's
Welcome
right.
to grandfatherhood.
Yeah.
Congratulations, Rich.
Tell you all about it.
I don't know if I like it so much. It's cost me a lot of money.
Okay, great. Evan, what's up, man?
Evan, how's it going?
Seeing you. How are you, sir?
What's going on? It's been a long time.
Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
it's been a while.
Wow.
It's good to have you here with us.
I popped open one of your emails like, oh man, I'd love to see what these guys are up to. So I figured I'd jump on.
Great.
Yeah.
Well, last we talked was, gosh, maybe half a year ago now, it feels like, or at least that's how it feels.
It's about 6 months ago.
Yeah.
Maybe 6
All right.
months.
So at this point, you're probably got your hands full managing a full-fledged investor relations team, right, Evan?
So syndicators have very specific skill set. Mainly that skill set is underwriting and negotiating. Great at finding deals, getting them under contract, sending out the LOIs. And that's a very specific skill set. We've worked hard to acquire it. Now, that skill set does not necessarily translate into salesmanship and closing, which is what an IR person's main skill set should be. So a lot of times, if you don't have that skill set, I'm not saying every syndicator doesn't have the full package, if you will, but a lot don't, right? And if you don't have that skill set, you need to ally yourself with someone who does. Right? Someone who can help you, the people that are coming in as leads, and ultimately getting them across the finish line, right? There's two forms of this relationship. There's vet and set, right? A setter that can just kind of vet the person and then pass along the call, or you can have someone kind of take it full cycle, right? They vet them, establish the relationship, and then go ahead and get capital across the finish line, kind of hold their hand through the process A to Z. Vitaly, what are your thoughts on this?
Yeah. So one of the things that we realized pretty early on in our as we started building out and establishing these Raise Ready systems, and we realized, okay, we have no problem getting leads in. And the way we define leads is people who raise their hands and they are willing to exchange their contact information in order to learn more about your specific offering. And then we have no issue converting a good percentage of those. We generally see around 20% of those people schedule calls, and it's been around 20 to 30% conversation rate. So what the difference is between somebody scheduling a call with a lead or a lead scheduling a call with a sponsor, the difference is the sponsor actually follows up with every single lead that comes in. So between the two of those, we've seen around 20 to 30% kind of conversation rate, both people scheduling calls and sponsors having, luck getting a hold of them as soon as the lead comes in before they are able to close out of their tab. So that, okay, we've gotten that established to a reasonable rate, and we're always looking to improve that. But, what happens kind of on the side where the lead comes in, we get that our clients are busy. And, it's not like, is it so reasonable for us to expect that they reach out within 5 minutes of the lead coming in, or even sooner than that? We have already emails going out, we have text messages going out, but like how, and when we worked with a firm that had, they installed a full team of investor relations people into our process, and they told us again and again that the conversations that they have when they are the ones to call the lead right as they come in, they're able to catch them and get them on the phone, and they're consistent about it. They were like really good about that. Like those are some of the best conversations that they had. And so like as much as like I want to, as a firm, be like, hey, we're going to save you a ton of time. We're only going to bring you leads that are interested. It's so valuable for the sponsor to follow up with the lead themselves. But there's a couple of ways, like we understand that's finding a high quality investor relations person is super important. And it's also one of the hardest things to do. The turnover rate is high. There's a lot of pressure in this industry, especially. And so we've been thinking, Chris and I, internally about how to solve for that and how to like alleviate some of that pressure and maybe offer a resource on our end to vet the leads. But there's a lot of, there's a couple of considerations for us. So for example, if we were the ones vetting the leads for our clients, we could do that, no problem. We could install kind of an appointment setter type role. And there's a couple of tiers, right? There's like, you can install an appointment setter, and that person's job is simply to vet the lead, get the leads on the phone as soon as they come in, vet them for quality and interest. And then as that's established, pass them on to the sponsor. So that's one way to do it. Another way to do it would be find, or we would employ some kind of think of it as a fractional investor relations person. So they would actually be more versed in the opportunity and the offering, and they would be the ones to actually take the lead full cycle, from education to answering their questions to taking them to the investor portal. And this fractional person, this fractional investor relations individual, would be managing multiple sponsors, right? So that's kind of the fractional portion of it. And on the other end of the spectrum, you have kind of a full-time investor relations person that you bring on. And so we're kind of exploring those three tiers of how we can help our clients, how we can put leads in front of them that are most interested, so they're not the ones that are kind of sifting through all the leads, even though if they don't have the resources, dedicated resources to do that. So that's what I'll say. So that's kind of what we've been thinking a lot about.
Yeah. So a previous model that we've been running with pretty much up to this point is what I'll call a kind of one call model. And that looks like this, right? Because a lot of the syndicators we work with, they don't have this full fleshed out IR team. A lot of times they're taking the call themselves, right? And the solutions that Vitaly had mentioned, are things that we're floating to kind of help bridge the IR gap, if you will. So a lot of times what we had focused on was, hey, when a call comes in, that might be your only chance to talk to that person. I'm still sort of that mind. Okay. I haven't completely abandoned this mindset, right? So you might have one call to really establish a relationship with someone and then have it, grow from there. Then there's the vet and set model, right? Where if you have an IR person or it's just you as the operator, the first call is just to see if they're legit and they're actually interested, right? Because if I could back up for just a moment, here's the reality of the lead flow game, right? You're going to get a mix. There's going to be tire kickers. There's going to be people who just weren't serious at all, just complete spam. And then you're going to get people that are actually very serious. They want to learn more and they may want to get involved. And not every investor is right for every operator. And not, every opportunity is not right for every investor, things like that. This is kind of range, but you will find people who are serious about wanting to invest with you. And when it comes to meeting that person, these are the two models to consider. Are you going to have this one call model where, hey, I'm going to just try to capitalize on this opportunity, take this call as far as I can? Or is it more of a vet and set model? I believe the one call model is very suited to this kind of bootstrapped, kind of scrappier operations where it's just the operator on the phone. Just try to build a relationship then and there if you can. And then as a fallback, you would use like, hey, well, you know what? Let's connect another time. Let's keep this conversation rolling. If you can't have that relationship start to be established from that first call. The vet and set is much more suited to what Vitaly and I are kind of opening this conversation with, as far as having, maybe a fractional IR person or dedicated IR person, kind of doing this vet and set model, right? So different ways to kind of think about this, and people go about this in different ways. I'm sure Rich and Evan here, they've probably experienced different models themselves, right? So Something else that's worth mentioning is let me say this, Vitaly, do you have any other color to add to that?
No, I think you summarized it pretty good. So feel free to just keep going.
Okay, so next thing I want to talk about is how we've been thinking about a call and text flow. So up to this point, the system that we've created, it's a combination, right? The IR people aren't handling every single thing, every single point of outreach. There's automations that support the IR team. And to the degree that we can do that, we're going to take it to the max, right? Like we definitely want our clients to stay top of mind, right? And in order to do that, we need to have long tail automations, people, they're being educated about the opportunity, about the syndicator, about the track record, so on and so forth. So up to this point, what we really had was, okay, lead comes in, they submit their information, they have raised their hand and said, hey, here's my first name, last name, email, all the information. And they said, I'm interested, right? What happens in this automation is that they would get a text in under 5 minutes. Now, the reason that we employed that strategy was because a lot of who we're dealing with is, again, this kind of scrappier syndicator model, right? It's just one person that's going to be taking the calls, and that really helps them achieve speed to lead, right? Speed to lead is super important for us. So that text goes out in under 5 minutes, right? And so they're texted, they get a text, and a conversation can carry on from there. Now I want to talk about what an ideal model would look like if we had a proper IR team set up within an operator's operation. So what that looks like is this: lead comes in, and I'm talking purely ideal, but I would say this is something we want to make people commit to, right? You got to do this if you want the best results. And what that looks like is lead comes in and you're calling them in under 5 minutes. Does that sound impossible or crazy? It wouldn't be if you had an IR person that was dedicated specifically to that role. That is their function. You call people in under 5 minutes, right? The call comes in. Now let's talk about a couple scenarios. If they connect with the person, great, right? They can even do the vet and set or try to build a relationship from that point. Now, situation B, they do not answer. They're not able to get a hold of them. The flow looks like this. They leave a voicemail, and then you can let the automation from there. It should be notified that, hey, call was not connected. And then the text goes out from that point. So you've covered your bases, right? You've achieved speed to lead by following up in under 5 minutes. And then you have a voicemail going out and a text going out. So the conversation is still alive. From there are multiple ways to do this, but what we're thinking about implementing on our side, or I shouldn't say thinking about, or actively implementing on our side, is an AI follow-up bot, right? Essentially, it has a very genuine tone, and it goes on to continue to follow up with them with the sole purpose of getting a call booked. Just getting them on a call. It's not answering any questions. It's not like crazy advanced where it's like, let me draft a financial plan for you right now. That's not what it's doing. It's just trying to get a call on the books, right? And the advantage of having the AI bot is this: when we create manual sequences, and a lot of people probably still do it this way, there's a static number of follow-ups that would go out at predetermined times, right? And that's not so bad. That's better than nothing. You definitely want some consistency in the follow-up to get the call booked. But when you have an AI bot in place, here's what's happening. It's going to keep going until they say yes or no. And you don't have to think about keeping the follow-up, turning until you get an answer. That's burning your energy, burning your thought, your mental capital. You don't need that. Just let the AI bot continue to follow up until you get that answer. Now, the bot should be intelligent enough that it will know, or you can update it and ping it and let it know that a call has been connected, because you're not just going to call once. Your IR person's not just going to call once, right? They're still going to continue to follow up. And we have an IR template that the IR people should work against that includes that. But imagine having that implemented into your business, right? How much would that help decrease operational drag in your mental capital and increase calls getting booked, so you're actually spending more time just developing relationships and building trust, which is the essence of this entire business. Just think about it. Let it soak in. It's major. It's a major pivot.
Yeah, it is, man. It is. And this stuff there's new developments coming out every single day. Like yesterday, I shared a new development from one of the bots that we're implementing for some of our clients. And this bot, and it was a chat bot to begin with, can now make outbound calls for you. Outbound calls. So imagine, and I'm not suggesting that we go and implement this, but are we going to try it? Yeah, we're definitely going to try it. And why wouldn't we? And this technology is just getting so much better, and it's coming out every single, it feels like it's every single day. Like, right. Like I didn't plan to tell you just now that yesterday I shared these news from this bot with my team yesterday, but it happened because that's how recent it was. But anyway, so yeah, and can it be like, is it ready to replace a real human? I don't think so. But if you create an experience out of it and not hide the fact that it's a bot and just say, hey, I'm just, and at that point you're like, the perception is like, oh, look at these guys trying to replace a real human with a bot, versus like, wow, look how cutting edge these guys are by implementing a bot where a human once was, and there's a way to kind of do it. We're still kind of working through the nuances of like, how do we implement this the right way? Because there is a wrong way to do it, and then there's a right way to do it. But this is certainly would be a huge game changer, because imagine a bot calling. I hate saying that, like a bot calling a lead. Like that sounds like such a garbage experience. But imagine if it's done in a way that doesn't feel so cheesy or inauthentic. So that's like cutting edge for us. That's what we're experimenting with right now. We don't have the solution yet, but we're certainly experimenting with it, and we're going to find the right way to do it.
And I want to touch on these technologies real quick. I think here's what I'll say about the AI and what we're discovering, actually testing it live in the field, right? This is not speculation. This is what we're experiencing. So we see that AI does really well in text conversations. That's really that's its strong point there. There's even technologies we've run into where initially our main focus right now is like just get an AI bot to get the call scheduled, to get it booked, right? But we're seeing potential for technology where it can answer questions surrounding an opportunity, right? If we plug in enough information to the bot. So if somebody just said, oh, what's the equity multiple, right? It'll have an answer prepared. What's the IRR? When do distributions start? Whatever. This bot can actually have prepared answers for that through text. So text is a stronger point for the AI. When it comes to voice, I'm 100% with Vitaly. I don't think it's there yet. Now, I'll say my personal position. I'll speak for myself here. Will never underestimate AI. I've seen the leaps and bounds it's taken in the short time that it's been here since last year, 2023. Recording this video April 2nd, 2024. In just like a year's time, it's already come so far, right? So will it get there where it can actually have an AI bot and actually talking to someone and holding the conversation? I have no doubts. There's not even a shadow of a doubt in my mind. Like, yes, it will get there, and that would be cool. And maybe you guys will forget all the IR people, only AI bots, right? But it's not there yet. So let's just deal with the reality that we're experiencing now. Focus on having it handle text conversation. Don't get too fancy and try to get it, the little voice prompts and stuff like that, unless you're very open about, hey, this is an AI bot, and you may run into some roadblocks with it, right? That's what I would say.
We're going to try it. We're going to try it real soon, just as an experiment, and we'll see what happens. We will see what happens. And if we don't try it, then we'll never know. So that's kind of where we're at. I wanted to shift the conversation a little bit and circle back around to kind of our understanding of how important investor relations is to a sales operation. And one of the so another opportunity to like get an investor relations person is that we have not discussed yet is if simply the person behind the syndication business does not want to be the face of the business. So that's where you would bring on an investor relations person, and we've seen this again and again, where this person who becomes the face, they also serve as kind of like the head of investor education, call it, right? So that's another one of those positions where they become the face and the IR. And so I want to share with you guys a job posting that our friend Paul sent over to us, and he was looking for an investor relations manager. And so I want to share this job posting with you because I had sent it across our network of investor relations people. And the feedback that I had received was that this was exceptionally well written. And if they weren't already in, secured in a position, that they would definitely entertain this. So I'm going to share my screen with you and just share what I, believe makes this so great. And for anybody watching, this would be the model that I would replicate. And if you see this and and you are an investor relations person, or of somebody who's looking, send forward this application to them. So this is from Wellings Capital. And so they did a really good job of just kind of describing who, what the job description is and the job type. They were very specific about, yeah, great. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, those guys are great. And really, really genuine and authentic people too. Really great. And so it's interesting. While it does say it's remote, the candidate needs to live within a 3.5 hour driving distance to Lynchburg, Virginia, or be prepared to move. So that's pretty interesting. That's another kind of caveat there. But this very well could be a remote position, in my opinion. They have written out the base compensation plus the bonuses and carried interest. This is the thing that stood out to me, as well as the people that I've shared this with. So the responsibilities and they're setting expectations for what needs to happen within the first 4 months. So, what happens within 30 days, month 2, month 3, and month 4. So I'm not going to go into the details. I'm not going to read this. So, but if you're watching this, pause it and read it. And then day-to-day expectations. That's really great. So initiate daily new prospect calls. This would be like calling the leads, checking in with current investors. By the way, I want to mention this too. This is one of the most underrated tactics. Is when you call somebody, you call them twice. Their phone might be on do not disturb, and the best way to get past do not disturb is you call twice. And oftentimes, like a robocall, just will only call once. But if you call twice, it's like, okay, this person is really trying to get a hold of me, and so they'll answer. And so,
and quick input on that, we've had people say, "Well, isn't that rude? Isn't that a little too much?" Not if you actually believe in what you're offering them, right? You worked hard to get something under contract to present a real opportunity to these people. Call them twice. It's okay.
Yeah. And another thing is when if you close an investor and they actually trust you with their money, and you take money from them and it ends up in your account, call them. A lot of people, like, it blows my mind that you work so hard working a lead trying to get them to commit the money, and when they do, you don't call and say, hey, congratulations. That's such an easy way to establish a really strong relationship and build trust that says, like, hey, you didn't just make a big mistake. Like, we got you, And so that's a really big component of it. And we have, like, templates for all this stuff and what a welcome email should look like and all of that. So utilizing a CRM, blah, blah, blah. So some requirements, and then how to apply, and the application process itself is pretty quick, pretty standard: contact info, resume, cover letter, LinkedIn. And so yeah, I wanted to share this with you guys. So where I'm going to leave is this. We are currently developing an investor relations database, which means that if you have any openings on any of the spectrums that I've mentioned, whether it's just an appointment setter who just vets the calls and passes the leads to you, those who are interested, a fractional investor relations person who might be able to serve you full-time, somebody else full-time, but at a fraction of the cost, or a dedicated investor relations individual who you're just looking to onboard to your team, let us know. We want to partner with you on it. It's a way for us to engage our network of investor relations individuals as well. So if that is you, reach out to us and let us know. Anything else you want to mention there, Chris, before we part ways?
No, we're growing, and we see a need for this, right? What, like 3 or 4 out of the last 7 calls that we've had, people have mentioned this. So the opportunity is kicking our door down. There's a problem that needs to be solved, and we're very interested in being a part of the solution. So
one more thing I'll mention is that these investor relations people will already come pre-trained with our tools. So they would already know how to work the system. They will already have a KPI spreadsheet, and that would be consistent. You know, so you can install the same KPI spreadsheet to your entire investor relations team. And so they will already come pre-equipped with these tools to succeed. So you don't have to waste time like ramping them up and teaching them the system. Like they would already be equipped with knowing exactly what to do so they can hit the ground running.
Well said. And guys, that's what's up with us, what's going on this side of things. So if you've been here and you watched through the whole video and you'd like to kind of keep track of how these experiments and things that we're doing are going, you know, feel free to drop us a line, follow up with us, and we're happy to share the state of things.
Yep.
Always happy to share what we're learning.
And join us on these calls. They happen on every Tuesday at 1:30. Or wait, is it 1:30? 1 p.m. CST. Tuesdays at 1 p.m. CST. Just drop by, ask any of your questions, send us any questions in advance so we can address them, and we can maybe even do a whole topic on our show. So yeah, so that's it. Thank you guys for joining, and we'll catch you next time.
Take care, everybody.